This lesson will explain the most common comma rules and help you to learn how to judge when a sentence needs a comma or not. Phrases that interrupt the flow of a sentence are called non-essential interrupting words or phrases. A comma always goes before and after these phrases. You can often recognize these phrases by seeing if there are words or phrases in the sentence that add additional but not necessary information. Check that the word phrase meets these two conditions. It is not necessary for the sentence to make sense. It interrupts the flow of the sentence, almost as if the word or phrase could be put in parentheses. If one of these two sentences describes the phrase, then it is a non-essential or interrupting phrase and needs a comma before and after it. Here's what this looks like. We cannot, however, allow them to launch another attack. This is the first time, I believe, we have been faced with layoffs. You understand, of course, that pets require a lot of work. Yellowstone, the nation's first national park, welcomes millions of visitors every year. George Washington, although an inspirational leader, was not a brilliant military strategist. Now that you have seen some examples, practice putting commas around the non-essential phrases in the following sentences. Pause the video and then press play when you are ready for the corrections. Remember, not all sentences are incorrect. Always place commas around a person or group directly addressed in the sentence. Pay attention though, because if the person is being referred to but not spoken to directly, then you don't need to put commas around the name. Here are some examples of both. First of all, Mandy, you need to spend more time doing homework. Sarah, please accept my apology for forgetting about our date. I wonder if David will come to my party on Saturday. No comma necessary. Notice how in the last sentence, David is not the one being spoken to. He is merely being talked about. That's how you know that you don't need commas around his name, since he is not being referred or spoken to directly. See how you do with these practice sentences. Practice this rule with the following sentences. Whenever you name places, make sure to put a comma between the city and the state or nation, like this. I grew up in Billings, Montana. They went on their honeymoon to Paris, France. If the city, state, or nation comes in the middle of a sentence, place a comma after the state or nation also, like so. I grew up in Billings, Montana during the 1980s. When you have a date in your sentence, always put a comma between the date and the year. America declared independence from Britain on July 4th, 1776. If the date and year come in the middle of a sentence, place a comma after the year as well. On July 4th, 1776, American colonies declared independence from Britain. However, you would not put a comma if the date doesn't include the day. June 1944 marked an important turning point in World War II. I was born in October of 1965. Practice putting in commas for the dates and places in the following sentences. Remember, not all sentences are incorrect. As you look to see if you have non-essential or interrupting phrases, use your judgment and sense of rhythm to place a comma when necessary to avoid confusion or misreading. However, use this approach sparingly. When in doubt, leave the comma out. Thank you for watching. For practice worksheets or additional questions, please visit the BYU-Idaho Writing Center website.